together for BUMAYONG Secondary School and Coronation College. For them, we'll have Mr. Buge being replaced by Ms. Tuno, because Mr. Buge's team, the school is participating now. So can we have Ms. Tuno, please? Ms. Tuno of BUMAYONG Secondary School. Yes, can we have one from Malang? Miss Nahon, thank you. Let me now introduce the participants for BUMAYONG Secondary School. We have Lynette Paul, Amo Akik, VENESSA Sogiri, and Philip AIKA. Please make welcome the BUMAYONG Secondary School. Next, we have the Coronation College team. First up, RENNAE SIAGURU, SNAIDA YARSIE, VENESSA, LATERA, and KELVIN KALATE. Please make welcome the Coronation School. The topic of debate for this afternoon is HIV can destroy the human resource of PNG. BUMAYONG is going for the topic and Coronation College is going against the topic. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker of the affirmative team.
Thank you, Chairlady. Thank you, the judges, the timekeepers, and the audience. As mentioned by the Chairlady, our topic for this debate is HIV can destroy human resource of PNG. I will firstly define the topic as the job of the first speaker. HIV can destroy human resource of PNG. What is HIV? What does HIV stand for? Okay, according to a booklet from the HIV Council at Talktown, HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. And people, HIV is different from AIDS. HIV will accumulate and it will come to a time when it will expose to what we call AIDS. So don't confuse yourself with HIV and AIDS. Okay, before I proceed on with my points, I would like to introduce the topic, which is HIV can destroy human resource of PNG. HIV can destroy, which simply means that HIV has the potential to end the existence or badly damage the human resource of PNG, and the human resource consists of skilled and unskilled people. The skilled people are the people who invest through education, and the unskilled people are the people who do not invest through education. Before I proceed on with my point, I would like to introduce my fellow members. As I'm the first speaker, I am going to talk about HIV danger signal in PNG. And the second speaker is going to talk about HIV infection of productive age group. And the third speaker, she is going to talk about cultural factors and social factors. And the fourth and the final speaker is going to summarize what my two friends and I are going to say. Okay, firstly, proceeding on to my points. HIV danger signal in PNG. What does HIV danger signal in PNG mean? HIV danger signal in PNG simply means that Papua New Guinea, we are rapidly increasing with our statistics of this HIV. So we are increasing, that means that we are on a signal point, we are on a danger point that we must be aware of and we must be careful. Papua New Guinea, we are at a risk with the increasing population of HIV victims. To really understand this, we need to put it in a big context. According to a book titled L for the Pacific, which was written by Andrew Solian, he stated that the latest statistics of the population who are infected with HIV throughout the world is about 42.5 million. And out of this population, 95% comes from the developing countries, which is about 40,375. And this number includes Papua New Guinea and other Pacific countries as well. And also, Andrew Solian also stated that almost 90% of the infection of HIV, which was recorded in the Pacific region, almost 90% are in Papua New Guinea, and which is over 60,000 people who are currently living with HIV in Papua New Guinea. And this to us is a threat. This to us is a danger signal. The last week, there was an article reported by Raka Rao, and it stated that the Provincial AIDS Council, Mr. Poilele, has stated that nowadays many of our mothers, many of our faithful mothers and single mother women are increasingly having this, what we call infected with HIV. So with this, it tells us that most of our human resources in Papua New Guinea are increasing with this, what we call HIV. So if we are increasing with this number of people having this HIV, we firmly believe that HIV has the potential to badly damage and end the existence of the human resource in Papua New Guinea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, first speaker of the affirmative team. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker of the opposing team.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon, adjudicators, audience. As the first speaker of the opposition, I have the pleasure of introducing our brilliant team. I, RENNAE SIAGURU, will base my points on the medical measures in place to reverse and reduce the spread of HIV. Our second speaker, SNAIDA YARSIE, will argue from the social perspective. The economical effect of HIV on the human resource of Papua New Guinea will be presented by our third speaker, VENESSA, LATERA, while our fourth and final speaker, KELVIN, KALATE, will summarize our team's arguments on the topic, HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. Firstly, we do not accept the definition as stated by the first speaker of the government. Allow me to give a more educated definition. HIV. H stands for human, I for immunodeficiency, and V for virus, So from this definition, we can already see that HIV is not a disease. Therefore, it cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea, as the government side claims. The word destroy means to damage something so badly that it no longer works or exists. The human resource can be defined as the people resorted to for support, ingenuity, or a means of achieving something, such as economic growth. The human resource of Papua New Guinea is divided in two sectors, the informal and the formal sector. So let me make it very clear from the start that HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. AIDS may. However, AIDS is not the issue for debate. Ladies and gentlemen, HIV, which is the issue for debate, cannot, and I repeat, cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. Firstly, I would like to rebut on one point, raised by the first speaker of the government. The first speaker of the government stated that PNG is at a danger point and we are at risk. She also went on to state that Papua New Guineans need to be aware of this. I assure you, Papua New Guineans are very well aware of HIV. That is why this topic for debate is not an issue. Now on to my points. I have two very important facts to stress. The first point is that we must understand the difference between HIV and AIDS. HIV is really a virus that destroys the white blood cells, which are the body's main defense system. AIDS is a physical condition of the body, which shows that the body is no longer able to defend itself from opportunistic or persistent illnesses because the white blood cells have all been destroyed. When a HIV positive person dies of such an illness, the cause of death is AIDS and not HIV. So by saying HIV can destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea would be completely ignorant of the concepts of science. Science, which brings me to my next point. Just like any other illness, such as tuberculosis, leprosy, or cancer, previously science wasn't able to find a cure, and the world jumped up and down about this issue, just as it is now doing with HIV. But science did find a cure for these illnesses. Therefore, we the opposition state and believe that science will be able to find a cure to combat HIV. Then came the discovery of ARTs, antiretroviral treatment. The introduction of these, supplemented by a healthy diet, allowed the body to recuperate and the person to continue living a healthy life, even with the presence of HIV. Although it didn't end there. Researchers were awarded on September 24, 2009, with the discovery of an experimental vaccine that prevented the infection of HIV. The vaccine cut the risk of becoming infected with HIV by more than 31% in one of the world's largest vaccine trials of more than 16,000 volunteers in Thailand. This has proven that science and medical professionals are in control. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to be open-minded about this issue. It is clearly stated in PNG's Vision 2050 to be a healthy society, but citizen participation is critical. It is up to us, so let's stop being so negative about this issue. If we believe that HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea, then by far, HIV will not and cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. In summary, HIV and AIDS are two completely different things. HIV is an international issue. It is not only a Morobe issue, nor is Papua New Guinea the only nation facing this epidemic. It is a universal issue, and we are not alone in this fight to finding solutions to combat the virus. Only when we do not put anything into finding a solution, then society is in chaos. Otherwise, strategies have been put in place, and these will be elaborated on by our second speaker. Therefore, we the opposition strongly believe that HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. I know I have convinced you. Thank you.
Thank you, first speaker of the opposition team. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the affirmative team.
Thank you, Chairman. Firstly, rebutting on the first speaker's point of view, HIV is not a disease that can destroy the human being. But in fact, HIV is the virus, okay? It's the virus that destroys the white blood cells called T4-liptenis. Okay, when it destroys it, suddenly AIDS will come, okay? It is the building foundation. It is a building foundation for AIDS. In line with my first speaker, I will stress further on productive age group. What do I mean by productive age group? Productive age group is the age group that ranks between the age of 15 and 34. In this productive age group, you will find most skillful people, experienced, and also the ones that can bear young ones for our future workforce. In this group, the sexual relationship is very, very high. Okay, the sexual relationship is very, very high in this productive age group. As a result of it, the latest statistics from PNG National AIDS Council shows that 60 to 70% of our HIV victims in the country, they are found in this group. Okay, the most affected ones are women and young ladies. In other words, in the future, we won't have enough healthy mothers to bear healthy young ones for future generation. In the book called Health for the Pacific, Dr. Henry Soylan also stressed further that a productive age group is no longer the dwelling place for human resource. Okay, it is now the breeding ground for HIV. In recent 2050 booklets also, it also stressed that, or it also states that 50% as a result of this productive age group becoming the breeding ground for HIV, the latest statistics also shows that 50% of our total populations are under 20 years. Okay, and by 5 or 10 years time, these people will definitely fit into the productive age group. When they fit into it, HIV will start to boom now. Okay, HIV will start to boom. And not only that, as time goes by, more people will fall into that productive age group. When more people comes into it, AIDS will boom very, very rapidly than in the past and today. Okay, our life will be under risk. In the future, we might think we will get married to a very skinny lady or handsome boy. Instead, we will totally stumble ourselves on a vector, a disease carrier. Okay, to sum up, productive age group is the engine room behind the development of this nation. Okay, productive age group is the engine room behind the development of this nation. Productive age group has the ability to adjust the situation, to make sure good things must rise and bad things must fall. For instance, economic problem. When we have more valuable human resources in our productive age group, they can come up with some good techniques to solve economic problem. Because economic problem won't solve itself. By doing that, they will create more employment opportunities for our leavers. Productive age group also has the ability to make sure the situation must go down, okay? To make sure the situation must go down. For instance, attitude problem that we're having now. When we have more valuable human resource in our productive age group, they will come up with some good techniques or idea to solve the attitude problem in means of strict enforcement of laws to cut down criminal activities in our country, and also to legalize prostitute, okay? In means of cutting down HIV epidemic on our population statistics, because awareness did not carry out any effect on that. Okay? At the moment, the situation now is changing because due to HIV impact on our productive age group, human resources are declining in number. So by 5 or 10 years time, we will see that the situation will completely change. Good things will come to an extinction and bad things will rise very, very rapidly. And it is happening now, right now in our country. You can see that social problems have dominion over the economic development. This is the fact that then tell you the opposition that productive age group is no longer the dwelling place for valuable human resource. It is now the breeding soil for HIV. Thank you.
Thank you, second speaker of the affirmative team. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the opposition side.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, students and adjudicators. I am the second speaker of the opposition, and I will be elaborating on the social perspective of our topic of debate here. I have 2 points that I can't wait to bring across to your attention, but before I do so, I would like to rebut on what the second speaker of the government has stated. You said that the productive age group, which is 15 to 35, are the skillful ones, and they're the ones to bear children for our future. And there is a high sexual activity within this age group. And with the increasing number of graduates that we have in our universities, no matter how much these age groups of people have sex, because, oh, sorry. Under 2% of our population is infected with HIV and AIDS. And within that 2% alone, we do not know how much is infected, how much of the human resource is affected. So it doesn't matter how much infected the productive age group may become, because it wouldn't affect the human resource. Moving on to my points. The first point that I would like to stress is based on the strategical plans that were planned by the government in 1987 since the first confirmed AIDS death. Okay. The first point is that our workforce can protect themselves from HIV and AIDS given the many awarenesses. We, the opposition, confidently hold our views as a team because since the first death due to AIDS occurring in 1987, PNG has consequently and promptly reacted to combat the spread by developing strategies, as mentioned by my first speaker. The first strategy, which my first point is based on, is the awareness, which are very vast, frequent, and apparent nationwide through different forms of media. An example of the awareness could be the 3-day awareness program that was carried out in Medang last Thursday, coinciding with the youth debate competitions at the Divine Wood University in Medang. At that time, the FM 100 was there to broadcast live the awareness. And you can imagine how many people in our country listen to FM 100. At that moment in time, they were well aware of HIV. So this proves my point that our workforce can protect themselves from HIV because awarenesses are vast, frequent, and apparent. To my second point, the workforce can also check their HIV status and better look after themselves and the others around them. Given the VCTs that have been established in our countries, which we have 5 of which in lay, the VCT stands for Voluntary Counseling and Testing Centers. With such services being provided to the people, they can check their HIV status, whether infected or not, whether positive or negative. They can learn how to look after themselves better and receive counseling. Moving on to my next and final point, the workers, the human resource, I would like to say, whether they're workers who are HIV positive are protected by workplace policies implemented by the BAHA. The most recent strategy implemented by the government put in place is the establishment of the coalition or the Business Coalition Against HIV/AIDS, or we would better know as BAHA, which gave way to the development of 2 strategies, the HIV workplace policy and the workplace policy training. The HIV workplace policy secures the well-being of the workers and their families. In other words, it gives the right to every HIV positive worker. It gives them the same right as every other person. There cannot be unfair dismissal within the workplace because of someone's HIV status. The workplace training policy allows them to talk freely amongst themselves and educate themselves about AIDS. This is what we have here in our school in Coronation. We have 2 of our speakers here, Speaker 1 and Speaker 3, who are peer educators. These are the implementations of some of the policies that business houses have implemented in their workplace. And there are many others that I could list for you right now, but I'll just list 3. The New Guinea Table Birds, the BSP, the Bank South Pacific and Westpac, and the Public Employees Association. There are many others that I could list, but because time is of the essence, I just want you to see the main point. These policies have been put in place to protect workers with HIV/AIDS, so they cannot be dismissed unfairly. Therefore, we the opposition strongly believe that HIV will not destroy the human resource of our country. Thank you.
Thank you, second speaker of the opposition side. And I'd like to call upon the 3rd speaker of the affirmative team.
Good afternoon, everyone, the audience, my fellow debaters, the judges, and teachers and students as well. Firstly, I would like to rebut on what the second speaker of the opposition said. He said awareness were carried out in Medang. What about the most rural parts of Papua New Guinea. Are awarenesses being carried out there? What about those who are illiterate? I mean, do they, when they do awarenesses, they give out pamphlets. When they give out pamphlets to illiterates, are they going to read? No, I don't think so. Secondly, about this workplace policy, I can say that HIV, you can have that HIV and you can work within the workforce, but it will come to a stand when the HIV will destroy your white blood cells called the T4 lymphocytes. These are the very different defense systems of our body. When HIV destroys these cells, it creates a pathway for which other diseases can come in to harm you and even cause you death. So with no further ado, I would like to go on to my points. I am the third speaker as mentioned, and I'll be talking on cultural factors. The first cultural factor that I'll be talking on is the cultural mindset. Now, Papua New Guinea is a culture-based society with almost 800 plus languages and 10,000 different tribes in our country, more than 10,000. With this, we can see that culture plays a very powerful role in spreading, encouraging, and enabling HIV to destroy our human resource in Papua New Guinea. The existence of cultural factors is capable of increasing the ability of HIV to destroy our human resource in Papua New Guinea. We can have other resources like minerals, like gold, copper, and ore, but no, not dogs and pigs will come and utilize these resources for us to achieve economic growth. No, our human resources are going to come and utilize these resources so that we achieve economic growth. Am I right? Yeah. And when we have seen that, like the points mentioned by my two speakers, the danger signal of the danger signal given by the National Statistics Office and the National HIV and AIDS Council, with the statistics given by the second speaker, which covers the productive age group, we can clearly see that HIV can destroy our human resource. And going on to my first point, firstly, in our culture, we have the cultural mindset that men have the cultural mindset that women are inferior to them. And when we have this type of cultural mindset, this type of mindset gives more power to men, and they have more power over women. As a result, women's ability to refuse sex or the use of condoms have reduced in quality according to the authors mentioned by my first speaker. This cultural mindset only serves to increase the ability of HIV to destroy our human resource. One critical example would be when men pay bride price. When men pay bride price, they have the mindset that women are now theirs. They are commodity. They can do whatever they want with them. Going on to my second point, the taboo to discuss sex. This taboo creates a fertile breeding ground for ignorance on how HIV infects people and where to obtain assistance from. This taboo gives HIV epidemic to use ignorance as a major channel through which it spreads and infects more people. Example, like I said earlier, people from the villages who are rural and who are in the most rural parts of Papua New Guinea, and they are illiterate. How can they read pamphlets by the National AIDS Council? They cannot read pamphlets, and when this happens, it creates a fertile breeding ground for HIV to go in and simply infect those people. The third point that I'm going to stress on is practice of polygamy. Polygamy, according to the English dictionary by Catherine Sowens, defined it as men having more than one wife and women having more than one husband. This allows a person infected by HIV to spread it to other people. Example, according to Highlands culture, they have the cultural mindset that men, to be wealthy, they have to have more than one wife. When they have this more than one wife, if one of the wives contracts HIV, surely all the wives and the children who are going to be born to that man are surely going to have HIV. So with no further ado, I would go on to my social factor, and that is high rural to urban migration. As Mila Solian pointed out in their book, when people leave their villages, they tend to be at the liberty to have more sex partners and engage in sex without the use of condoms. This freedom they have of having more sex partners and engaging in more sex practices without the use of condoms also encourage a rapid spread of HIV in our towns and cities. So to sum up, we can clearly see by the facts and figures given by our speakers and myself that HIV can truly destroy our human resource if we are not careful enough. Thank you.
Thank you, third speaker of the affirmative team. I'd like to call upon the third speaker of the opposing team.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, good afternoon, adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen. I have a point to present, but firstly, I would like to rebut on the third speaker of government. Now, these taboos you talk about being restricted from talking about sex, these taboos are now being put aside because people are aware of the high risk of contracting HIV, and therefore now they speak openly about these risks as to inform each other about how they may contract HIV to prevent them from catching it. To my point, even with the number of people who contract HIV every year, the human resource of Papua New Guinea is not affected in any way which would have it destroyed. Since 2007, the estimated prevalence rate of the adult population being HIV positive is 1.5%. Compared to the prevalence rate of the year 2005 alone, which was 1.8%, there has definitely been a decrease, showing the slowdown in the HIV infection rate in our country. Now, this is due to the awareness being carried out, as elaborated by the second speaker of opposition, educating the people of this nation about the dangers of HIV and the risks of contracting it. Also based on reports presented by the United Nations AIDS Program and the Department of Health and Friends Foundation, approximately 93.1% of the current cases of HIV are adults. Now, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, the human resource, a vast majority of the human resource of Papua New Guinea is comprised of adults. And by saying adults, I am referring to all of us who are of ages 18 and above. Now, the estimated population with HIV, and I'm talking about all ages, is 55,000 people. This means 0.75% of adults in the country are living with HIV. Now, the fact has already been clearly stressed by our first speaker of opposition, and that is that people who live with HIV cannot and do not die immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to keep that as a key fact in mind. During the lifespan of these victims, who are part of the human resource of Papua New Guinea, they still have the strength, the ability, and the stamina to perform their tasks normally and to contribute meaningfully to nation building in their various capacities. On the other hand, however, if we take a look at figures provided by the Office of Higher Education, the number of graduates entering the workforce annually from tertiary institutions, the figure is a staggering 5,000. Add this figure onto the number of people already part of the human resource, and I assure you, we have more than enough. More than enough that even we have reserve manpower on standby, waiting and are ready to be deployed at any moment's notice. Therefore, there are many energetic and very competitive Papua New Guineans who are already part of the human resource despite being HIV positive. Not to mention those who are on standby and who are ready to transform the government policies and transform programs and in turn develop Papua New Guinea. This, ladies and gentlemen, is yet another reason as to why we, the opposition, firmly believe that HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Thank you, that speaker of the opposition side. Now I'd like to call upon the final speaker of the affirmative team.
Thank you, Chair Lady. The members of the judiciary, the adjudicators, the timekeepers, and the audience. Good afternoon to you all. I am the fourth speaker of the affirmative team. I will be summarizing the team line in which the affirmative team we are for this evening. That is, HIV can destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. Before I summarize and put a final touch on the topic itself, I would like to rebut on several points raised by the negative. Let me tell you this evening that I come here, I bring that thing over to present to you. It's for you to know that even we have signs in place, even we have signs, we have antiretrovirals medicines in place to cure HIV. I can tell you that it is ignorance, human ignorance. Some of the figures given are miscalculated and are outdated. Just imagine 2005 and 2007. Guys, we are living in 2010. It's not 2005 and 7. You just look at the number of students going out at the tertiary institution. Give an example as University of Papua New Guinea. That's what the negative said. Okay, the negative team, they said that the skilled workers, you just see that it is only the skilled workers. What about the unskilled workers who will be working in the production companies? Especially in Laia, we are industrial province. We have people work. We have industrial companies like the Best Buy. The Bestas. Pardon me, Bestas. Besta group of company, the IFC. Okay, the IFC, which is Besta, and we also have Snacks, Lay Biscuit Company. You just see, those working there are unskilled workers. They are not skilled. They are not skilled. They are productive, those as classified as human resource of this nation. We don't have to look at the number graduating from University of Papua New Guinea, graduating at Pacific Adventist University, Divine Word University, and other colleges within the country, and then we look at that and we talk about that figure. No, we also have to consider the unskilled. They are human resource. Am I right? They are human resource. Unskilled workers are human resource. If we look at some of the percentage given, they are outdated, 2005 and 7. Papua New Guinea, we are in 2010. We don't have to get the figures from 2005 and bring it over here. Let me put you the team line in place. That because of that, we see that HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus, as the possibility or the potential to put an existence to the human resource of this nation. Why I say this, even we see that the awareness are put in place. We have the Anglican, the National AIDS Council, we have the Provincial AIDS Council, we have other non-government organizations in place. Let me put my my fingers are in my pocket. So I will simply pull out one thing to show you that this thing here, what do we call it? It's condom. Still, the National AIDS Council, the statistics shows that we still have HIV positive. Even we have education in place, even we have awareness in place, people are simply ignorant. They don't use this one. People are ignorant. They don't simply use this one. If I give you one this afternoon, you are not going to use that. Am I right? Huh? If I give you one of that, you want to use that this afternoon. That is why we have to understand that even the awareness are in place. That is the ignorance of human beings. That is the ignorance of us that make us to see that HIV is still having this possibility to destroy the human resource of this nation. Within the productive age group, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that according to the Vision 2050, the 50% of the total population are under the age of 20 years old. 50% of the total population of this nation are put under the age of 20 years old. What will happen in the next 5 to 10 years? Ladies and gentlemen, audience, what will happen within the next 5 to 10 years? This group of age under 20 years, which is the 50%, will simply fall into the productive age group of 15 to 34. And that is where we see that the human resource of Papua New Guinea, it is where we see that the human resource of Papua New Guinea will greatly, the human resource of Papua New Guinea have all the percentage will be from the age group of 15 to 34 within the next 5 to 10 years. And mind you, if we say this, then this means that the 50%, if we say this, then if HIV happen to infect those 50%, I tell you that this 50% of this population will be subjected to HIV. It will still subject to HIV, regardless of the awareness we have in place. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you to the point here to say that we have also other factors that influence HIV in Papua New Guinea, like the cultural and social factors. As per presented by the three of the affirmative speakers, the third speaker spoke on the cultural factors and the social factors. Even we have this, we are exposed to Western influence. We see that there are people who don't want to use condom, They simply say that, they simply see that use of condom is what they see as won't help or won't fulfill their desire. That is why they have been ignorant in using all the, using condoms that was in place. You see, government have been spending a lot, even non-government organizations, the United Nations, they have been spending a lot on manufacturing condoms just to prevent, help most of the entire population around the world to prevent HIV. But mind you, we have been so ignorant. On social factor, we see that most of the development happening, and then number of people migrating from village into town, simply they would like simply would like to come into town because of some of the services that is happening. They tend to have number of sexual partners. They tend to have 5. They tend to have 10 partners having sex. There are sometimes that they are ignorant to use condom. That is why we say that HIV has the possibility, the potential to destroy this human resource of Papua New Guinea. Ladies and gentlemen, if offices, higher offices like the National AIDS Council, the Provincial AIDS Council, doctors and authors of books like Andrew Solian, all those people in the top hierarchy, if they can give a figure and address this issue in the media to tell us that HIV is a threat to this nation, whom are we to believe, ladies and gentlemen? Whom are we going to believe? If these people from the top post, if they can give us such figures like this, we must know that PNG, Papua New Guinea, is under threat, you see, is in the danger signal to see within the next decade or so, we'll see that HIV will simply be a threat to the human resource of this nation. And it can badly damage. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude and recommend to you all that we, as leaders of tomorrow, must know that everything rise and fall on leadership. Everything rise and fall on leadership. That is why we have to get everything in place, better strategic plans to put in place to address these issues, like the HIV/AIDS. I mean HIV/AIDS, yes, HIV/AIDS, other STI diseases within our country, Papua New Guinea. Therefore, I would like to say this evening, we, the affirmative team, strongly believe that the HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus, has this possibility or the potential to put an end to our human resource. Thank you.
Thank you. Final speaker of the affirmative team. Now I'd like to call upon the final speaker of the opposing team.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We, the opposition, believe that HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. I, as the final speaker, will be summarizing my team's arguments. But before I do that, I would like to rebut on a few points mentioned by the government side. The government side stressed that PNG was at risk. But according to the United Nations AIDS Council, we are not at risk. There is a low concentration phase, there is a medium concentration phase, and there is a high concentration phase. At the high concentration phase, that is where we are at risk. But due to current figures, we, Papua New Guinea, are currently at the low concentration phase. The government side also stated that 90% of HIV cases were in the Pacific, but they didn't substantiate this fact. They were not able to tell you, the audience, their source of information. And you then can't be able to decide for yourself if this source is reliable. To another point, the government side stressed that HIV was the building foundation. It was at the bottom, it is at the bottom, then comes AIDS. And because of the high sexual activity of the productive age group, AIDS will kill this productive age group, and Papua New Guinea in the future will not be able to have a successful economic growth and development. But we can cut this chain. We can cut it right at where the AIDS is, because we can prevent HIV from developing into AIDS. There are antiviral drugs. Apart from these drugs, we need a balanced diet and family love, care, and support. This will prevent the building of AIDS, and the human resource of Papua New Guinea will not be destroyed. The government side also picked on one of our examples of the HIV awareness in Medang. But this is just an example to show you, the audience, that their awareness carried all throughout the country. An example is in Pomio of East New Britain. Recently, Unitech students who originate from Pomio themselves went to Pomio and made this awareness. They also stressed that because of the literary status, the unskilled workers will not be able to know about HIV. But the awareness carried out are also in Pidgin. They have also used pictures, posters, and communications through, oral communication. So there are many ways in which we are taking the issue here. So how can the unskilled workers not know about HIV? The cultural mindset that we have is decreasing. If you haven't realized, the government side, please realize this. More and more people are becoming educated. They are maturing and living this and moving forward. The 2005 and 2007 figures, which is said were out of date, these are not figures of 2005 and 2007. We are trying to show this trend of HIV infections, that it is decreasing. We're not trying to show that this is the current rate here, today in PNG. We are trying to show the trend that it is decreasing. Now, to the summary of our arguments. We, the opposition, strongly and firmly believe that the human resource of PNG cannot be destroyed by HIV for these following reasons. Firstly, scientific research has shown that HIV alone cannot kill. It only weakens the immune system. It destroys the white blood cells, which form the main defense line of the body, therefore weakening the immune system. However, with a weakened immune system, we can live 100% normal life, and we have 100% chance of survival. A good example is the coordinator of the people living with HIV Morobe group. He has been infected since 2001 and is known to be living with the virus and is working as the accounts payable clerk for a well-known company and is living a normal life here in Ley City. Secondly, we the opposition believe HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea because through medical means, the HIV virus is now controllable. There are antiviral drugs which boost the immune system and allow infected people to resist infection and live normally. The current figure of people taking antiviral drugs is 63% of the infected population. One of the following, the person used in the previous example is one of the people currently on antiviral drugs. Apart from these drugs, credit must also be given to US research scientists who in 2009 were able to come up with an HIV preventing vaccine. Socially, HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea due to the prompt response by the government and donor agencies in combating the spread of HIV. Strategies implemented include intensive awareness campaigns throughout the country, and the establishment of voluntary counseling and testing centers throughout the country. Also, the introduction of the Business Coalition Against HIV/AIDS, and finally, the incorporation of HIV/AIDS awareness into classroom learning. The last point mentioned was with so much effort and resources put into awareness and strategic planning to minimize the spread of HIV, statistics declined in the last 3 years. This information was sourced from the United Nations AIDS Council and the Department of Education, also the Friends Foundation. The future looks promising with such trend and rules out the possibility of what the government side is arguing for. To conclude, the human resource of this nation is its important asset, its most important asset. Its destruction will result in the end of this nation. The 2050 document aims to make us a smart, wise, fair, healthy, and happy society by 2050. They have developed strategies which are attacking the issue at all possible angles. The result so far has been successful, with the number of HIV infections beginning to decrease. Therefore, we, the opposition, strongly and firmly believe that HIV cannot destroy the human resource of Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Round of applause to the two teams, please. Again, we won't have any question time, so as they shake hands and leave the stage, the BUMAYONG participants were Lynette Paul, Amo Akig, VENESSA Sogiri, and Philip AIKA. Thank you, BUMAYONG Secondary School. Coronation College participants were RENNAE SIAGURU, SNAIDA YARSIE, VENESSA LATERA, and KELVIN KALATE. Thank you, Coronation College.